And time now here on Bloomberg Surveillance for the single best chart of the day. Kevin Logan of HSBC, the chief U.S. economist there, is still with us. Let me pull up this chart, which is kind of like the pickle the Fed is in at this point. On the top of this chart, you see NAIRU in yellow, and you see the U.S. unemployment in light blue. For radio, we'll push this out on social media so you can have a look at it as well. And then beneath it, of course, U.S. core PCE, the inflation read, Kevin, and we see that still at 1.5%, which is much lower than where the Fed wants it to be. Here they are with another good read on jobs last week coming from the Labor Department, and yet what's the Fed's conundrum here? What are they waiting to see happen?
Well, the conundrum is that NAIRU, or the natural unemployment rate, is not a fixed figure. It changes. And we even see the Fed officials themselves lowering their estimates. All they're doing is looking at history. And if the unemployment rate comes down and inflation doesn't pick up, well, then that natural rate must be lower, which means we don't really know. We haven't tested the real bounds yet. If you look at that chart, you see that inflation's tapering off right now. That's because of the global excess supply. There's ample supply of goods throughout the world. And U.S. inflation is no longer determined by economic conditions in the United States. It's determined by global conditions. And while we focus on the U.S. unemployment rate and think that's going to be the signal, it's not. We really have to look at global conditions. And in fact, if you were to look at unemployment on the average for the OECD, the whole group, that's a better determinant of inflation in the United States than just the U.S. unemployment rate. I'm
going to speculate that this is going to be something that's going to come up around the chuck wagon separate Jackson Hole when the Kansas City Fed's confab starts there in just a few days' time. What else are central bankers going to be talking about in Jackson Hole, Wyoming this year? We look at the importance of that Sintra ECB forum just a couple of weeks back.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. The topic this year is fostering a dynamic global economy. Yeah, that's vague enough.
Yes.
But it suggests that they're going to be examining some of these questions. Is the experience we have now really a global experience and not just a national experience? And if so, is there an argument for coordination? Most central banks, and particularly in the United States, have always argued that it's best to take care of your own knitting. Just look at conditions in your country, and then everything will take care of itself. If you do it right at home, it'll be right globally. Well, it'll be interesting to see if that theme changes a little bit. Are they going to start talking about coordination across countries?